One of the things you all see me do the most on my page is show other guys the activities that I do with my sons and all the things, the different events, extracurricular activities they participate in. And the most important thing is you see me being there. Now, I pay child support. I do all the stuff. I pay for the food. I pay for this. I pay for that. But the most important thing you see me do is spending time with my sons. And so what that lets you know is the most important thing is not the money you spend, but the time you spend with your children, especially your young boys. Now, you know, a lot of people, you think that this is my obligation. It's my obligation to the community because see what happens is if I don't raise these boys, then you're gonna have to deal with them in 20 years. You're gonna have to deal with 2 more or 3 more angry black boys in the inserted in the community that are longing for male attention and their father's attention without discipline or balance in their life. They will learn how to deal with issues from a woman's side of view, and they won't have skills that men have. Coping skills is the word. They won't have male coping skills, how to cope with things as a man would. They would learn that from a woman. And what do we know about women? Women, when they get upset, they cry, they go talk to their friends, they scream, they lash out. You know, men don't do that. And the reason we don't do that is because when we start lashing out, people get hurt. It's not cute. Folks go to prison. Folks go to the morgue. And so men have to learn a different set of coping skills than women. And the only way they can learn that is from a father. It's from a strong male father figure in their life that's close to them, that they trust, that they respect. You're not going to get that everywhere. The only place you can really get that is from your father, your biological father, especially in your home. You got to watch him up close and personal. And so, you know, it's my obligation, man, to the community. You know, I don't want to be one of these cats that puts just you birthing these kids out, man, and you sending these wild animals out in the community, man. You know, I don't want to do that, man. So the stuff you see me doing with my boys, man, and that's for you all. You see what I mean? 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna be the one that has to deal with them. I'm their father. They're gonna show me respect. You see what I mean? But guess who is gonna have to deal with them? Your sons. So if they got a bad attitude, guess who they're gonna lash out at? They're not gonna lash out at the little girl down the street or the women. They're not gonna lash out at me. They're gonna lash out at your sons. So flip the script. When you send your angry sons out there in the world, some other person's son is gonna have to deal with that dude. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta realize that when you give birth to boys especially, you have an obligation to make sure you train them up well so that they don't become menaces to the neighborhood, menaces to society, so that they don't become another statistic. That's your obligation to do that. You got to teach them to be moral. You got to teach them to obey the law. You got to teach them to respect authority. You got to teach them to love themselves, respect their brothers, respect themselves. You have to teach them these things. You got to teach them how to cope with times when it's stressful. You got to teach them that they can't throw a tantrum every time they get upset. You got to teach them that. You see what I mean? You got to teach them through trial and error. It takes patience. You only got 18 years to do it. And for the most part, out of that 18 years, after they get about 13 or 14, you done. They're already who they're going to be. And if you don't catch them early and deal with them early on in a way that shows them, first of all, that they have to respect you, but that you still love them, then you're going to lose them. So, you know, I appreciate y'all giving me all these compliments about how I treat my kids and how I raise my kids and everything. But trust me, it's not an easy job. And I don't do it out of love. I do it for obligation. It's my obligation to them because they didn't ask to be here. You see, I brought them in here. It was me and their mamas is the one that got together and brought these children here. So I'm obligated to them. They're my responsibility. And at the point where they're no longer my responsibility, then they're responsible for themselves. But whatever they do in life is still a reflection upon me. You see what I mean? Good or bad. So what I try to do is make sure that they don't become hindrances. To themselves and to society. I don't want them to be burdens on themselves or anyone else. You see? So, I know that me putting my sons out in the way we do, I do a lot more than a lot of other people do. But hopefully, I show you that being a father, being a parent in general, but especially being a father of young boys, can be fun and exciting. Some of the things that we do, like shooting arrows and going out to the forest, with our knives and having target practice. And these are things that my boys will never forget. But these are also things that you can do with your children that excite you. You don't have to just limit it to playing a pickup game of basketball or throwing the football around or things like that. There's so many other things you can do to keep it interesting. I just got invited to take my sons to Colorado to go snowboarding by one of the lawyers that I work with. One of the class action lawyers that I work with, and I might take him up on that offer. You see what I mean? But you also see me taking my boys down the Caribbean doing snorkeling. You see me taking them to Colombia and these other different places, going to museums so they can learn a little culture and learn about other people's culture. But it's not so much where we go. It's about, you can do the same thing with a book in a library, or you can go on some of these internet streaming services and pull up a nature special. You can do the same thing. It's the time you spend with your children. You see what I mean? Because it's not so much what you say, it's how you say it. That's what they learn. They learn that from you, fellas. So, man, if you got sons, man, go on out there and reclaim your sons, man. I got through talking to a judge friend of mine. He said, man, the lowest common denominator is black men in the prison system. And 9 times out of 10, they don't have fathers. And so they didn't learn those male coping skills. And so I got to see them. I got to deal with them. And these people down here downtown, they giving out time. They giving little young brothers 16, 17 years old, 20 years, 25 years, 10 years, 15 years for little crimes that amount to little or nothing. You see, they're giving away time to these young brothers, and they're giving it away to the manly young brothers, the strong young brothers, the little warriors, the ones that would make good, strong fathers. That's who they sending away to prison. The ones that would make that decision to protect the community, to stand up for themselves, to become police officers, to become strong, righteous men in the community, to become military men. This is the ones we put in the jail. Them little weak, effeminate little boys that, their mama dressed them every day to match what she had on. They not out there doing these, but these are these little beta male type dudes. These are not the ones that we need in the black community. We need strong men. You see what I'm saying? And I'm trying to raise my boys to be strong, upright, courageous men. But the last thing I want is for one of these little feminine, weak men to feel like they have to prove something, to learn to cope with life like a woman would cope with life, to take one of them out, or force my sons to have to do something to protect himself or defend himself or his property or his things that will cause him to jeopardize his life or his freedom. So what I'm telling y'all is, man, you have an obligation to raise your sons. If you got little brothers, you got an obligation to help out with your little brothers. If you got little nephews, you have an obligation to help out with your little nephews. And I'm not saying that's your responsibility fully. Those children are the responsibility of their parents, okay? And if you got boys, their father should be the primary role model of manhood for that boy. But as an uncle, as a grandfather, as a cousin, as a big brother, you have an obligation to your family to step in and make sure that boy knows what being a man is about, knows that how to deal with situations as a man would. Because at the end of the day, when you throw him out there, man, he either going to be a monster or he's going to be a builder. He's either going to destroy or he's going to create. You see what I mean? And the last thing we need is more destruction, especially in the black community. So this is what I'm telling y'all, man. This is what I see. I make being a dad look good for a reason. It's a conscious decision that I do that. The things I do, man, I know how you fellas think. You see what I mean? You see me and my little boys, it's almost like I got these little G.I. Joes. You know what I mean? You see me playing with them, and I give them little different weapons and stuff like that. I know y'all see that. I know how men think. I make it look good. I make it look fashionable. So it's not uncool to hang out with your sons. You see what I'm saying? You see me and my little boys down in the Caribbean, and they swimming in a little jacuzzi, a little pool, and out there snorkeling and things like that. I put a little video out every year so you can see what they do, and I'll put it on here so y'all can see, man. My little boys are having a good time being boys. You see what I mean? And on top of that, they hanging out with their daddy, and I want y'all. I want some of that to rub off on y'all. Don't just follow my page because you like the things that I say. I don't want you to just listen to the words that you hear me speak. I don't want you to just share and like the posts that I make. I want you to think about patterns, patterning some of the things that I do that are successful. I want you to follow that pattern. You see, that doesn't mean you have to do exactly what I do, but spending time with your children, getting as much education as you can, or mastering your craft, so getting as much trade skill as you can in a certain area, speaking and sharing good words and kind words, and being thoughtful in your words, being deliberate in what you say, being conscious of what you say to your brothers. See, I'm not pushing the religion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pushing, I'm not trying to get you to buy nothing. You see what I mean? What I'm into is building men. See, I want to build up the men around me. See, that's what I do. I understand that real men are built from the ground up. You take blocks from this and that, and you insert some courage. You insert some work ethic. You insert some morality. You insert some strength. You insert some wisdom. You put a little bit more hard work in there. And then slowly you build a man, you put some tenacity in there, some stick-to-itness. You know, you inject some intestinal fortitude in there. And then that's how you build men. You see, and you keep talking to your brothers and you keep building. This is how you build men. Men are built. They're not born, they're built. And only real men can help other men become men. Only real men can do that. And so this is why I put this out there so you all can see. See, I love you, brothers, and I want to see you do well. And I'm going to tell you, I have selfish reasons. Because I know if somebody don't come in there and reach in there and say, hey, brother, it's a better way. You don't have to do that. You don't have to operate like that. Then I'm going to have to deal with you. Or my sons are going to have to deal with you. And I'm not talking about it in a positive way. See, I understand my brothers. I understand what you're going through. I'm the only one around for you to lash out at. 99 times out of 100, you're not going to go after a woman. I don't care what she say. You ain't going to fool with them white folks because, first of all, you know what's going to happen to you if you fool with them white folks. Second of all, they know we're around you 9 times out of 10 when you want to lash out. So who's left? Me? Another black man? My sons? More black men? That's it. Your own relatives, the people that live down the street from you, your neighbors. So if I don't help you out, brother, there's nobody that's going to help you out. There's nobody that's going to give you a few words to help you find peace of mind and happiness for that day to keep you going. There's nobody going to give you a direction or some hope that you can see. You see what I mean? If we don't help each other, there's nobody there. And it starts with your own children. It starts with your own male children. There's a reason why Pharaoh went after the male children in the Hebrew clan. Because that's where the saviors are going to come from. You can educate black women as much as you want. You can give them all the education in America. You can make them the most educated group in America, and it's not going to change the status of black men. You can uplift women all you want to, but it's not going to change the status of the black community until you begin to build men. And the only way you can build men is for strong men to build boys and teach them to be strong men. I ain't talking about lifting weights strong. And even though physical fitness is part of it, because that helps your confidence. I'm not talking about how many women you can sleep with. You know, even though I definitely advocate getting married and having beautiful children with beautiful women that care about it. That's not it. It's more than that. It's all encompassing. And I just want to take this time to let you know that each one of you black men have an obligation to help train up and bring up the men in your family. That's what I'm telling you, especially your sons. So if your baby mama is giving you a hard time That's okay. You still need to spend time with your son. You need to suck it up just like I did and do what you got to do because you the one that got her pregnant. The other thing is if you have nephews and cousins and little brothers, make sure you make it a point to spend time with them boys. Okay? Just so they can be around with you, even if it's just teaching them how to cut grass or take them to the ballpark or something like that. Shoot some hoops with them, man. Just little questions that they might have that you can answer for them with your age and wisdom that they don't have to learn and try to figure out on their own and then end up confused. Or heaven forbid they ask the woman in their life, their mama, their grandma, their auntie, and then she just send to get them confused, because she's going to give them the advice that she would want some simp to have, because of course, when women give you advice, it's the advice they want you to respond like the man that they wish they had would have responded, not like the man that they end up falling for in the first place. So in other words, they're going to give you the advice of a simp. They're gonna raise you up to be weak, simp, effeminate, and then they're not gonna respect you anyway. So you need strong men to advise young men and bring up young men. And I'm telling you, you have an obligation to the boys in your family, your children, your little brothers, your cousins, your nephews, all these young men that's coming up behind you. That's who you need to be linked up with. You see what I mean? I'm not telling you to go raise somebody else's children. Now, if you a stepfather, that's on you. You decided to do that, so you got an obligation to help with that child. That's why I tell brothers, man, leave them women and their kids alone. You see what I'm saying? Let her uncles and let that boy's uncles and let his daddy and his grandfather, let them deal with him, especially if it's a boy child. You see what I mean? And when he grows up and he becomes a man, then he'll be able to join the tribe of men himself, having learned what he needs to learn from the men around him that most love him. And there's not a whole lot that the mama can say to that father or to that boy's grandfather or to her father or to her brothers or her male cousins who are trying to help raise him, because that's her blood, that's her tribe, that's her people. Now you as a stepdad, she can give you the blues, she can call you back, I'll leave my baby alone whenever she wants to. Or you not his real daddy, and he could say the same stuff to you, and then you turned off to the situation. So what I'm telling you is that you have an obligation to your own family members, and each member has an obligation to the boy children and their family to teach them to be strong, teach them to come up and be moral, upstanding men with courage and wisdom and intelligence. And we have to do that, because if we don't, man, we just turn the little wild animals into the community, and they're gonna keep tearing it up. They're gonna keep destroying themselves, and these cycles will continue to repeat themselves. This unruliness, this lack of control, it's just gonna repeat and continue on until we just spiral out into nothingness. But that's what I have to say. This is Raw and Filtered Dinner. Shout out to all the dads out there, man. Shout out to all the uncles, man. Shout out to all the stepdads, man. Shout out to all the big brothers raising their little brothers, and the grandfathers and the uncles and folks raising your nephews and grandsons and whatnot. God bless you all, man. This is Ron Filtered Dinner, so I'm out. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.